Nanak Dev Ji wanted to go to these places to meet the yogis and the sadhus to tell them about what is truth and what is false. Now, these sadhus, they have been doing bhakti for hundreds of years. By right, they should already be liberated. But now Guru Sahib is telling what is the fault here. What is the reason that you're not achieving mukti, which is what you're searching for. Pad pankaj bandhan, pad pankaj bandhan, simaro angad dukh निकंदन अमरदास गुर हृदय त्यावो गुर हृदय त्यावो श्री गुरु रामदास गुण गावो श्री अर्जन बेगनन के नासक बेगनन के नासक हर गोबिंद शुभ सुमत प्रकाशक श्री हर राय नमो कार जोरी नमो कार जोरी श्री हर कृष्ण मनाए बहोरी गुर तेग बहादुर परम कृपाला जी परम कृपाला श्री गुरु गोबिंद सिंह विसाला तरों तरा पर पुन पुन सीसा जी पुन पुन सीसा बंदों बार बार जगदीसा जिसमें अमृत ज्ञान है माणक भगत वैराग श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब उदित बंदो कर अनुराग श्री गुरु शब्द कमाए जिन जीते पंच विकार तेन संतन को बंदना सिर चरणन परतार कहाँ बुद्ध प्रभ तुच्छ हमारी बर न सकै महिमा जो तिहारी हम न सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप लिहो तुम कथा सुधारी हम न सकत कर सिफत तुम्हारी आप लिहो तुम कथा सुधारी। चौपई करी तलाश तो बाबा देखा लिखियो बाबा उन हिंदू पेखा पैर पसार बाबा थो परा कसीट उन है वल दूजी करा करी तलाश तो बाबा देखा। ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਆਓ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਈਏ ਜੀ। ਗੱਜ ਵੱਜ ਕੇ ਆਖੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਅਪਾਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਦਰਬਾਰ 'ਚ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੋਦਰ ਰਹਿਰਾਸ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਸੁਣੀ, ਸਰਵਣ ਕੀਤੀ, ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਅਤੇ ਹਫਤਾਵਾਰੀ ਜੋ ਲੜੀਵਾਰ ਪੰਥ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਦੀ ਕਥਾ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਏ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਕਥਾ ਸਰਵਣ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ। So with Guru Sahib's blessings, we are gathered here again to continue the Katha of Sri Guru Panth Prakash by Kavi Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo. And in the previous prasang, in the previous Katha, we listened to the Katha of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj when they went on their udasiyan. Their 4 udasiyan, we heard how this Granth came about by Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo meeting Captain Murray, who was given the order by General David Octaloony to write the Itihas of the Khalsa. And when Captain Murray asked Kavi Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo, ki how did Khalsa get their Raj? How did they get their Padshai? And Bhai Sahib kende ne that this Padshai to the Khalsa was given by the Sache Padshah. And Captain Murray asked, who is the Sache Padshah? And he says, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Captain Murray is wondering, ki Guru Nanak Dev Ji, a fakir, a sadhu, how can he be a Padshah and how did he give Padshah to the Khalsa? And so the whole prasanga of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Itihas, where Guru Sahib goes around the world, liberating Gursikhs, sadhu, yogis, bhagats. And in today's prasanga, we are going to continue Guru Sahib's Udasi to the west, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj went to Mecca, Medina, Baghdad. And hopefully today we'll be able to complete the Katha of Guru Sahib's Udasiyan. So, ਸਾਰੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਆ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਮਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਕਥਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਰਵਣ ਕਰੀਏ ਜੀ।
ਕਰੀ ਤਲਾਸ਼ ਤੋ ਬਾਬਾ ਦੇਖਾ।
So this was the history, the itihas, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji now goes to Mecca. And as we hear often in other itihas as well, कि Guru Nanak Dev Ji jande ne, Bhai Mardana ji request कि Hey Sache Pacha, I'm a Muslim and I would like to go to Mecca to do Hajj. And Mar kende ne, why did you tell me this now? Pehla chale jande. Let's not delay and let's go. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, to teach them a lesson and give them a sikhya, the qazi over there, Guru Sahib lies down and their feet is pointing towards Kaaba. And the qazis around are looking, ki why is it that certain doors are opening and the Kaaba is turning, and when we try to touch the door, open the doors doesn't open. So kari talash to Baba dekha, so they are looking around ki kaun hai, kede karke darwaje khol rahe ne. What's the reason the doors are opening? And when they looked around, they saw Baba, they saw Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Hanji.
Likhyo Baba un Hindu pekha.
So when they saw Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Hindu pekha means they were wearing a Hindu outfit, keh lo, udasi da jara pekh hamare ne tarya si. And they could see ki mari di seli topi pai hui sigi, and there's a rababi with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So they realized, so they know that this was a Hindu. Hanji.
पैर पसार बाबा थोपरा.
So while Guru Nanak Dev Ji hona pair pasar ke, so Guru Nanak Dev Ji was lying down and their feet was pointing towards Kaaba.
Kaseet unhe wal duji kara.
So enna Qazianu, they got very angry. How can you humiliate or disrespect our holy place? So Kaseet, they literally pulled Guru Nanak Dev Ji's feet, dragged Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Aini itihas vine changi tarah si kehne Guru Sahib da pair chak ke ode paase tarya no. It was literally Guru Sahib's feet was dragged and pulled to the other side, so their feet was facing on the other corner. Now, even in itihas, recent years we have come across another manuscript, and I'm not sure if the Sangat is aware of it, but it's called Tajuddin's Diary. Now, the first time we held this manuscript was in the year 2019, many years back when we were in the Nikitan house, and one Virji, a Gursikh, he comes and he says, I want to give you this book. And I said, Akiya, no one has heard about it before. And when I started reading it, it was literally printed from online. It's a PDF, Hana. So when we read it, it was amazing. You didn't feel like stopping it. The sakya was unheard of, especially Guru Sahib's Udasya in the West. You know how Maharaj Gosht discussion in Samer Parbat, or when they went to Dakhan with Raja Shivnap, is very much in detail. But the yatra in the West was not in detail. So Tajuddin's Diary is basically, it's called, the manuscript was Sihayato Baba Nanak Fakir. And it was written by Tajuddin Nashkbandi. This person, Tajuddin, spent 2 years with Guru Nanak Dev Ji when Guru Sahib was in Baghdad, in Medina, in Mecca. And he writes the whole diary of accounts of Guru Sahib's udasi in Mecca, what happens and so on. Now, this diary was then, after Guru Nanak Dev Ji left Mecca, Tajuddin then seeks the blessing of Guru Nanak Dev Ji to write the diary of the experiences in Mecca, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives the blessings, and he writes these accounts, this manuscript, and he put it in Medina library. So for 200 over years, it was just there after it was written. For many 400 over years, it was written and just kept there. A Muslim by the name of Mushtaq Hussain, he was a Muslim, and his father was a very renowned Qazi, scholar as well. He goes to Mecca to do Hajj, and he stays there for a few months to continue his studies. And one day he goes to the Medina library and he comes across this diary, Sihaito Baba Nanak Fakir. And he starts to read it, and he realized that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that he heard of as the Peer, the Sadhu of Punjab, of that time was united Hindustan. He said he was very much amazed to see Guru Nanak Dev Ji had done a lot here in Mecca as well. That person, Mushtaq Hussain, then goes on to become Shed Pritipal Singh, who then goes on to start doing Parchar of Sikhi. And his lineage is now still here in London and in Patiala. So in the recent years, his descendant had decided to translate this manuscript. It was first translated from Arabic, from Persian to Punjabi, and then from Punjabi to English. And even in this manuscript as well, Tajuddin, he writes his own eyewitness accounts ki how Guru Nanak Dev Ji was dragged when Guru Sahib was lying down and his feet was facing the Kaaba, and it was early in the morning where the cleaner, also known as the name of Jivan, when he saw Guru Nanak Dev Ji lying down, and he said, "What are you doing?" And he started screaming, calling and waking all the Qazi and the Peer and the Ulams up. And in the counts of thousands of people, they wanted to come and kill Guru Nanak Dev Ji. But Jivan then realized, he said, Guru Nanak Dev tells him कि जिथे काबा है नहीं उते पासे मेरा पैर तुसी तार दो. And the miracle happened that when Guru Nanak Dev Ji's feet was literally dragged and pushed to the other side, and Jivan looks up and he says the same, he sees the Kaaba facing Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So even here as well, Kavi Sahib कहंदे ने कि कसीट उन्हें वल दूजी करा. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji's feet was dragged towards the other side. हाँ जी.
उसी वाल दे दर खुल गए.
So उसी बार again when they look up, they see कि Kaaba is now facing Guru Nanak Dev's feet again. The same question Guru Sahib कहंदे कि जिथे रब है नहीं ओदले पासे मेरा पैर तुसी धर दो. So Jivan's eyes open and he realized that this person is a fakir. And he goes on to then call Qazi Rukkandeen, who was basically the head of that time. He calls to Qazi Rukkandeen and he says कि Qazi Sahib, तुसी हजारा लोकां नु ना लेके आओ. Do not bring all these thousands of people who are angry and they do not know what exactly happened. In front of my eyes, I've seen it. He said, you go inside and you meet Guru Nanak Dev Ji on your own. And Qazi Rukkandeen goes in and he has a conversation with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And even in the manuscript as well, there's 300 over question answers between Qazi Rukkandeen and Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So usi wale de dar khul gaye. So when Guru Nanak Dev's feet was turned to the other side, what happens is they see that the Kaaba is turned again and the doors open facing Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Hanji.
बाबा निकारियो सो अड़ रहे.
So they were so angry, अड़ गए, they were so angry and they say, "एनु असी इथों कढ़िए, let's take this person out from here." Hanji.
देख मुजावरन लागी आग.
So Mujawran, the Qazi, when they saw this miracle happening in front of their eyes, and they realized ki how come us who have been serving here for many years, we are unable to open the doors and cause such miracle, and this Hindu fakir who just came for a while and he has caused so much of miracles. So lagi aag, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਅੱਗ. So they felt very angry. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
बाबो सुटियो कड बाहर लाग.
They literally sutyo. They dragged, held Guru Nanak Dev Ji and threw him out from that place. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
दोहरा तो दर सब ही मुंद पे रहे जोर सब लाए.
Then what happened when Guru Sahib was thrown out? Mund pe, all the doors was closed again, रहे जोर सब लाए, and everybody tried their level best to open the doors, पर कोई दरवाजा नहीं खुला. हाँ जी.
उहाँ हाजी हुते पंजाब के उन दयो सियान बताए.
So उस समय ਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ, so we are speaking about the United Punjab, ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਜੀ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਉੱਥੇ in Kaaba, in Mecca, and they realized, they have heard the praises of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in Punjab, and they realized and recognized, there is Guru Nanak Dev Ji, ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ. But the Qazi in Mecca and Medina, they did not recognize Guru Sahib. हाँ जी.
चौपई उन्हें कहियो यह नानक फकीर.
So they tell the Qazis, the Peers in Mecca, that this is Nanak Fakir, this is Guru Nanak Dev Ji. हाँ जी.
हिंदू मुसलमान को पीर.
And he is the Peer of both the Hindu Dharam and the Islam Dharam. Yes.
इस तुर्क हिंदू है एक सजाने.
So this Fakir Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he sees both Hindu and Muslims as one. There's no difference between how he treats the Hindus and how he treats the Muslims. हाँ जी.
इन केऊ एक सार पछाने.
And both the Hindus and the Muslims who have interacted with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they see him as the same as well. That there's no difference just because Guru Sahib was born in the Hindu family that they take him to just be a Hindu, but no, Guru Sahib only walks in the path of truth and preaches truth. हाँ जी.
हक नाम इन सच दिड़ाया.
So this Qazi from Punjab, now they are telling the Qazi, the Peer of Mecca, they said that what prachar that Guru Nanak Dev Ji does is only on haq, means on truth, and naam, which is on the praises of Paramatma. Ehi prachar Guru Nanak Dev Ji da. हाँ जी.
इन राहे सच्चे है जग लाया.
And his aim is to put the whole world, the whole jug on the path of truth.
तुर्क बंदगी हिंदू भगत लाए.
So Turk bandgi, so Turk the Muslims, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦਗੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੰਦਗੀ ਕਰੋ. You do your namaz, you do your 5 prayers a day. Even in Guru Granth Sahib Ji as well, Guru Nanak Dev Ji described and spoke about the 5 namaz of the day. What is it that they really signify? And what is a roza a Muslim should be doing? What is the significance of this roza, this fasting that they do? Guru Nanak Dev Ji told them कि तुसी बंदगी करो. Do your bhakti, do your namaz, but do it with full heartedly. Know exactly what is it that you're doing. Even for us Sikh as well, when we come in Matha Tek, when we do Chaur Sahib Seva, Guru Sahib does not tell us कि ritualistically kuch karo. You have to understand exactly why you're doing something. And when you understand the significance of it, then the place that you're going to be doing that seva is not from a place of, oh, I have to do because I have to do. But it's going to be, I want to do because this is how it is between me and my Guru. This is how my love is, so I want to do this seva. Hanji.
कुफर हंकारों दूध हटाए.
So the Muslim Guru Nanak Dev Ji say, do your namaz, do your bandagi, and Hindu bhakt lai. And to the Hindu, they say, tusi apni bhakti karo. Kufar hankaro do hataye. And from, you see here, the word kafir is being used. And we say that kafirs are those who do not believe in Allah. But Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo, here Ji says that kufar are those who have ego and home in them. And when we have ego and home in us, it's very difficult for us to meditate on Paramatma. Because Gurbani says, home naave naal virodh hai, doena vase ikathaye. That naam, which is Paramatma, and home cannot reside in the same place. You cannot put amrit and poison in the same plate. And the word kafir here, Bhai Sahib kende ne hankaro, jinna de andar hankarya, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਦੋ ਹਟਾਏ. Both this hankar and this basically having no faith in God, अंदरों Guru Nanak Dev Ji took it out from these people. हाँ जी.
सोर ठा जाके इत पस पाए अड़े दरवाजे न खुले.
So now this Qazi realized that without Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the darwaje, the doors of Kaaba and Kaaba is not going to open to them. हाँ जी.
जो देवे बद दुआए क्या जाना किच होर होए.
So now after hearing the praises of Guru Nanak Dev Ji from the Qazi from Punjab, now these Qazis and Peers, they felt scared. Ki what if this fakir who has done such a miracle, what if he gives a bad duai? You know, so they are very scared. Kich jana, what do we know what's going to happen if he gets upset with us? Hanji.
तब उनकियो विचार लाए जोर हम सब थके.
Tab unkiyo vichar. So now they are doing vichar, they are speaking to themselves. Lai jor hum sab thake. That now we are so tired trying to, try our very best to open the doors and it's not opening. So now they are doing vichar. Hanji.
खुलियो ना को किवार हमरी ਸ਼ੇਖੀ ਇਮ ਗਈ
So that kivar, the doors are not going to open based on our efforts because we are now trying to do something out of home. They have that pride in them कि साडे कोलों क्यों नहीं खोलदा है. But because of that, the doors to Paramatma will not open. Now this is something that also relates to us as well. In Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev tells us about the Panch Khand, Dharam Khand, then your Gyan Khand, Saram Khand, Karam Khand, Sach Khand. Sach Khand was said Nirankar. Now the doors to Sach Khand, the doors to Paramatma is not going to open with home, with Hankar in us. And that's why the first thing we need to do is to step on the path of Dharam, to follow the teachings of Guru Sahib and take out that Hankar from within us. So this also metaphorically explains and tells us as well that the darwaja to Paramatma can only be opened with love, with prem and full faith. Hanji.
ਚੌਪਈ ਇਮੈ ਮੁਜਾਵਰਨ ਮਤੋ ਮਤਾਇਓ
So Imam Mujawar, now the Qazis they are coming with this mata, they're coming with this agreement, Hanji.
ਯਾਕੇ ਹਾਥ ਦਬਵਾ ਜਨਲਵਾਇਓ
They say that now Kaaba can only be opened with the heart of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev has to come and Guru Nanak Dev has to bless so that we all can do our Hajj. Hanji.
ਲਾਇਤ ਖੁੱਲ ਦਰਵਾਜੋ ਏ
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that we throw Guru Nanak Dev Ji out of the parkarma. So Kaaba is in the middle, so we have the parkarma around it. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji was thrown out, that now we have to bring Guru Nanak Dev Ji back. Hanji.
ਤੋ ਇਹ ਪੀਰ ਮੁਰੀਦ ਹਮ ਭਏ
Now if Guru Nanak Dev Ji is able to open the doors and allow us to do Hajj, and we can do Hajj, and we see this miracle in front of our eyes, then we will believe that he is a peer, he is a fakir, and we will become his murid, his students, his Sikh. Hanji.
ਜੋ ਇਸ ਤੈ ਨਏ ਖੁਲੇ ਕਿਵਾਰ
But if we bring Guru Nanak Dev Ji, this fakir in, and there's no miracles performed, Hanji,
ਤੋ ਇਸ ਦੇਗ ਜਾਨੋ ਮਾਰ
then understand this, that we are going to kill him on the spot. Hanji.
ਮੁਖ ਮੀਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਰੋ ਅਬ ਬਾਤ
So now they want to bring Guru Nanak Dev Ji in and see the miracles in front of their own eyes. So mukh mithe. So hona, with sweet speech, now they're going to call Guru Nanak Dev Ji in.
ਅਬ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਸ ਯੋ ਕਰਾਮਾਤ
So ਮਿੱਠੇ ਬੋਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ now they're inviting Guru Nanak Dev Ji in ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰੋ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢਿਆ, that we threw you out, can you please come back and show us the miracle that you did in front of all those other people. Hanji.
ਹਾਥ ਜੋੜ ਸੋ ਠਾਂਡੇ ਪਏ
So ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ, with their hands folded, they stood in front of Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
ਮਦ ਅਰਬੀ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਬਚ ਕਹੇ
Dekho. So even though on outside they are showing so much of humility, which is again Gurprit Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo, even though telling the sakhi, but there's so much we can learn from it. The baro asi nirmata dikhonde hain, we saw so much of humility, but what the Qazi did, haje na de andar kapat si, they still had that pride or that chanchal mat in them. What they did was mad arbi ko us bach kahe, that even though from the outside they fold their hands and they say Guru Nanak Dev andar aao, but they spoke in Arabic language, thinking that Guru Nanak Dev Ji would not understand a foreign language. Hanji.
ਉਸੀ ਜ਼ਬਾਨ ਗੁਰ ਉਤਰ ਦਏ
But Guru Nanak Dev Ji ta Piran de Peer, and they are Paramatma themselves. They are the one who created all the languages. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji answered them back in Arabic language, which is what Tajuddin Diaries is all written in about as well. And if you read that whole manuscript, you will see the conversation, the words that Guru Nanak Dev Ji spoken in Arabic and in Persian. It's written in there. And now the Qazi are shocked that this person replied us back in the same language. Hanji.
ਕਰ ਆਦਰ ਕੇ ਪਾਸ ਬਹੇ
Then kar adar, then now with respect, they sat next to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Now their hankar, their home is completely broken. Hanji.
ਹਾਥ ਜੋੜ ਉਨ ਬਿਨਤੀ ਕਈ
So now hath jod ke, now they're doing a benti. Now they're not telling, now they're doing a benti, a request. Hanji.
ਖਤਾ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਜੋ ਹਮ ਤੈ ਪਈ
That please forgive us for all the mistakes that we have done, that we acted out of home, of ego, thinking that you are a nobody and that we are the Qazis, the caretakers of this place, that we should be able to control this place. But you came in and perform a karamat and you have broken our home. Hanji.
तुम हाथ लाए किवार खुलावो
That hey Sache Pacha Guru Nanak Dev Ji, please hath la ke kivar, open the doors and allow us to do the Hajj and let us see the miracles that you performed. Hanji.
तुम हाजिन को हज करावो
And allow us Hajian, allow us Muslims to do the Hajj of Kaaba. Hanji.
दोहरा तो सतगुरु जी यो कयो मर्दाने बोल सुनाए
Now Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of course he had done the miracle in front of the other people, the Muslims, and now he doesn't want to do it again. But what Guru Nanak Dev Ji does is he is going to give Vadiyai to Bhai Mardana Ji. So this is why again Guru Sahib further wants to break the the hankar of the Qazis there, that sare Musliman utte hoke, they could not open the doors, they could not see the miracle of what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did to Kaaba. And now what Guru Nanak Dev Ji does is, Guru Sahib tells Bhai Mardana Ji, who is a Muslim themselves, that you go and touch the door and open the doors to Kaaba. Hanji.
उठ तिन दीने खोल दर आयस बाबे पाए
And they all saw the miracle happening in front of their eyes, that Bhai Mardana Ji went. And you see, even back then in the sect of the Muslim community, they also had high caste and low caste. So Bhai Mardana Ji being a Mirasi. Mirasi means one of the lowest caste sect where poor, bale, garib Musliman ne. And of course, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ they, ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ, they always see them with that such nazar ki he's a low caste, he's a poor person, compared to us Qazi. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji asked Bhai Mardana Ji that I'm not going to do it. You go and touch the door and open the doors. Utth tin deene khol dar. So now open the doors, and Bhai Mardana Ji went and the darwaje opened. Eyes babbe pai. Now then Bhai Mardana Ji came back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and all those Qazis, Qazi Rukkandin and all the others as well, they came and sat with Guru Nanak Dev Ji and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੋਸ਼ਟ ਕੀਤੀ. Gosht means they had a discussion with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Sawal jawab ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
चौपई एम मर्दाने मदीन दिखायो
So this way then after Guru Nanak Dev Ji had the discussion, showed that karama, that miracle to the Qazis, to all the peers over there, then they did their Bhai Mardana Ji did his Hajj as well. Em Mardane Madine dikhayo. Then from Mecca, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Bhai Mardana Ji went to Medina, they went to Baghdad and they did a whole yatra. Hanji.
फिर उसते गुर अगे सिधायो
Fair uste, then after that from Mecca, Medina, after completing their Hajj, they went to Baghdad, they met the people there as well. So ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ Sakhi of Pir Dastagir, ਉੱਥੇ Guru Nanak Ji ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਮਿਲੇ. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
कहे देश जिस पश्चिम नाए
So kaha des jis pascham nae. So the name, the days in the west, pascham in the west. So these are the countries Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to. Hanji.
लंग गए वह देसे वाए
So from there, from Makkah, Medina, Guru Sahib lang ke, they went further to the western countries as well. Now even in our itihas, we believe and we know for a fact Guru Nanak Dev Ji even went to Rome as well. Hanji.
चले चले कित अगे सिधार
So agge jaake Guru Nanak Dev Ji ਹੋਰ ਯਾਤਰਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ. They continue their udasi and they went to different countries. Hanji.
जाए बड़े कित समुद्र मजारे
So jai vade. So sometimes Guru Nanak Dev Ji will go to land. Sometimes Guru Nanak Dev Ji will go across samundra as well, go across the ocean as well. Hanji.
ऊहा वरण सो पेटा पाई
So uha varana. So now there's this sakhi as well that Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to the samundra and they went and they met the Varan Devta. Now Varan Devta, of course in the Hindu deities, Varan Devta is a water god, the god of oceans, the god of rain. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵਰਨ ਦੇਵਤਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ. So ਉਹਾਂ ਵਰਨ ਸੋ ਭੇਟਾ ਪਾਏ. So there Guru Nanak Dev had met the water god as well. Hanji.
उनकी बातें जाने वही
Unki baate jane vai. The Guru Nanak Dev Ji knows what was the discussion, what happened between the water god and Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Now even in Sikhan di Bhagatmala, we have Daulat Khan, who was basically the mayor of the town of Sultanpur Lodi. Now Daulat Khan, when he sees the miracle ki jado namaz padde si Qazi and Guru Nanak Dev Ji just stood there not doing the namaz, and the Qazi that got very angry and told Daulat Khan ki dekh, this person that you believe in so much, he did not do the namaz with us. How is it that he believes in our taraf? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells the Qazi, the Peer, ki what were you thinking about when you were doing the namaz? Let me tell you. That even though physically you were present here, your Tian was back home where your horse had given birth to a foal, and you're afraid that that foal doesn't fall into the well. He says, as the leader of the prayers, the namaz, if you are not focused in the prayer, how do you expect the other people, the other Muslims to focus in your prayers? Now, Daulat Khan Lodhi, seeing this, he was very much impressed, and usto baad he became the Sikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. But he had this ichha, ki hey Sache Pacha, I've always wanted to have darshan of the water god. Now, let's see what Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo says next.
तुर्क उसे खवाज खिजर सो आँखें.
So, Turka, the Muslims, they call the water god, they call him Khawaj Khizr. So, they call him Khijr. Now, even Sikha ni Bhagat Mala as well, Daulat Khan said, ki mainu Khijr de darshan karwao. That I want to have darshan of Khijr. Now, unna de ki ichha si, why he wanted to specifically have darshan of Khijr, wo aap jane. So, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says to Daulat Khan, ki okay, sit down and you have to do bhakti. 9 घंटे वास्ते Daulat Khan, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they do their bhakti. Now, even how to do bhakti, Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells in Sikh Khandi Bhagat Mala as well. What to focus on, how to concentrate to be able to sit down and do bhakti for 9 hours. It was after that 9 hours where Khijr came and he had in his hands diamonds, rubies, jewelries, pearls, motia, all this hire, all these treasures that you find in the ocean, you know. And it'll be very interesting later on when you hear about treasure, with the Sakhi will come later on. And he has in his hands, and he paid takar to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he matha tek to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and then he matha tek to Daulat Khan as well. He says, you are the Sikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and it is mera farz banda hai to even bow down to you. So, Hanji, Guru Nanak Dev kende ne, Bhai Sahab kende ki Guru Nanak Dev Ji even met Khijr as well. Hanji.
अपनी बोली इम उस भख है.
In the boli, Musliman di boli de vich, he is known as Khijr. Hanji.
ऊहा मर्दाने ने भौ खाया.
Now, Bhai Mardana Ji is a very simple person, very soft-hearted, very simple-minded person. So, seeing Guru Nanak Dev doing all these miracles, going into the samundra, in the ocean, and of course, being a Sikh, sometimes we are afraid that मैं डूब ना जावां. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji would say ki tu sat kartar da na le, don't have to worry. So Bhai Mardana Ji, sometimes he gets scared, Hanji.
आँख बाबे वल वतन ले आया.
And he says to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, ke hun bas, now it's time, let's go back to our own country. Let's go back to Punjab. I want to meet my family. Hanji.
दोहरा फिर सतगुर सुन परबते उत्तर बड़ो सुदेश.
So now ਇੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਪਸ਼ਚਮ ਦੀ ਉਦਾਸੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, that the udasi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the west is now complete, and now Guru Nanak Dev Ji is going to go to Uttar. Uttar means to the northern side of the world, and that is the very famous, the Himalayan mountains, the Sumer Parbat, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji is going to meet the Sidhs. Hanji.
सिद्ध साध सुन तह कणे देवी देव महेश.
Now there's many Sidhs, sadhus, yogis, bhagats who have been doing bhakti for hundreds of years, and they reside in these mountains. Hanji.
चौपई उसी देश के सैल है कारण.
So usi day, so to go, Guru Nanak Dev Ji wanted to go to these countries for what reason, Hanji?
लाभ हान सच झूठ विचारण.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji wanted to go to these places to meet the yogis and the sadhus, to tell them about what is truth and what is false. Now these sadhus, they have been doing bhakti for hundreds of years. By right, they should already be liberated. But now Guru Sahib is telling what is the fault here. What is the reason that you're not achieving mukti, which is what you're searching for. So such a chur da Guru Sahib nibera karde ne, Hanji.
प्रथम नीहल फिर तारण चढ़ो.
So first Guru Nanak Dev Ji climbs the base of the mountain, and then Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes uphill of the mountain, Hanji.
कालियन छड़ फिर तोलियन बड़े.
So Kalyan means the black earth, which means the green haripari ground. Guru Nanak Dev Ji leaves that ground, and as Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes uphill, the ground becomes white, which means it starts to snow, and all you can see is chitti tarti. Hanji.
जगह जगह जो सभी लिखइए.
So Bhai Sahab kende ne, if I write every place Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to, Hanji,
ग्रंथ बढ़ने ते मन हूँ संकइए.
that the granth is going to become so huge if I speak about every sakhi. Hanji.
जिनको लोड़ सुनन की होए.
And if you have the ichha to hear the sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji going to the northern side, Hanji,
और पुस्तक ते सुन ले सोए.
so you can read other pustak, other granthas. So here of course referring to the Puratan Janam Sakhiyan, Bhai Bala Wali Janam Sakhi. We also have the Itihas written by Bhai Mani Singh Ji as well. You can read those pustaka. Hanji.
दोहरा जह सतगुर जी तब पुजे देखियो ठीक ना कोई.
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to the northern side to all these mountains and they see theek na koi, that nothing is right, that these yogis and sadhus have been doing bhakti for many years, but what is wrong here? Why is it that they are not achieving mukti? Hanji.
देवी देव ओ मण मटो लिंग पूजक भय सोए.
So he sees, Guru Nanak Dev sees that they are doing puja, ritualistic puja. Now it's not wrong to do the puja that they do, but again that here is your intention and why are you doing certain things. So Guru Nanak Dev sees ke a ritualistic practice karde ne, and they have that मैं कि मैं पूजा करे, I've left my attachment, I've left my family, my business, the worldly affairs, and now I've come to this mountain to do puja. And Guru Sahib sees that this is all kam putha hi pe gaya. Hanji.
चौपई जह कित बाबा जी जावे देश.
So now Guru Nanak Dev goes to this place and Guru Sahib has Sidh Gosht. So ਇੱਥੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੱਕੇ ਮਦੀਨੇ ਦੀ ਗੋਸ਼ਟ in Makkah Medina Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to, he had the gosht, the discussion, or rather you want to say a dialogue or a debate even with Qazi Rukkandeen. Now Guru Sahib has the same gosht here with the Sidhs as well. And this Bani is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji is called Sidh Gosht. It's a very beautiful Bani that we should be reading. And it's a question answers. So there's about 100 over questions. Very simple questions. Who's your Guru? You know, whose Sikh are you? Why are you here? How can we get liberated? How to get rid of the Panchachor? How to control our mind? What is this body made up of? What is the difference between me and God? All these kind of questions are asked in Sidh Gosht and Guru Nanak Dev answers them. Hanji.
तह नाम दिड़ावे सत उपदेश.
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, wherever they went, they told them such upadesh, the true teaching ki Rabb nu ਧਿਆਉਣਾ karo. Naam tusi apne andar vasao, and that will help you to remove your home, and then you can get mukti. Hanji.
तू मरी सो हम यो कहियो.
Tau mari. So then Captain Murray, he told me this. Hanji.
बाबे साखी किने अंत ना लहियो.
So I told Captain Murray this as well. Captain Murray was very much intrigued with the Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but I told him that Guru Nanak Dev's Sakhi are unlimited. Hanji.
बाबे साखी महागंभीर.
Like Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Sakhi are gambhir. They are so in depth. They are so gambhir that if you want to listen to them, if I start, it will never end. Hanji.
सिद्ध साध लिख थक रहे पीर.
That even the Siddha, the Saz, they have been writing the Sakhi, they try to limit the Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the amount of miracles and people's life Guru Sahib has changed, but even they got tired. Hanji.
बहुत उदासी बाबे कई.
The Guru Nanak Dev Ji had done many udasiyan. Hanji.
हम ते सभी कब आखी गई.
That I cannot mention all the udasiyan, the exact places Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to. I would not mention them here. Hanji.
बाबे सैल आकाश पी की ना.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji even went to Akash. Kavi Rattan Singh Ji says to Captain Murray that Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to the Samundra, to the ocean. Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Akash as well. Now even Gurbani says Patala, Lak Agasa, Agas. This is Sakhi when Guru Nanak Dev Ji met Pir Dastagir and he questions. Islam says there's only 7 Patal and 7 Akas. How can you say Lak? And he says, give me your son, and he brings Pir Dastagir's son. And within a blink of an eye, they come back and they bring back Bata of Deg from every realm that they went to. Hanji.
बाबे सैल बहु कियो जमीना.
The Guru Nanak Dev Ji even went to Akash, to different realms, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji even went to all this other land, this Jameen, this other continents as well. Hanji.
बाबे की गत बापो जाने.
That the greatness of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, only Guru Nanak Dev Ji knows, or
कह जाने जो नाल फिराने.
or only those who were with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they would know how great Guru Nanak Dev Ji was. Bhai Mardana Ji, Bhai Bala Ji, Tajuddin, who spent 2 years with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Hanji.
जो उनकी सब ठौर बतिए.
That if I tell you all the greatness of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Hanji,
बदे ग्रंथ बहु लिखियो चाहिए.
that the Granth will become too big and it will become so magnanimous that it will be difficult to understand. Hanji.
जो लिखी ना होती और है ठौर.
That if the Sakya of Guru Nanak Dev was not written elsewhere, Hanji,
लिखते हम सब ही बहुत और.
then I would have done the seva to write all the Sakya of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Hanji.
याते ए मैं सूचियो तरों.
So now I've thought about this very well, Hanji.
आगे होए ना तो श्रम करो.
So now I've thought very well that I'm only going to tell you briefly Guru Nanak Dev Ji's accounts in this pothi. Hanji.
जो न साखी लिखी ना होए
That if the Sakhi, the stories of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the important Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji were not written, Hanji,
जरूर है चाहत लिख लई सोए
it's very important to write them down and to know the Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Hanji.
दोहरा जो आगे है अत कणी सो मैं कही कटाए
Now the next Sakhiya Kani, the next stories of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the important one, I'm going to tell you in brief, Hanji.
आगे है पर छिन जो सो मैं दयो प्रगटाए
Now again, I'm going to tell you the next Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, so the greatness of Guru Nanak Dev Ji will be known by you and by the world, Hanji.
दोहरा आगे साखी यो सुनो हुते हुते पठान दिल्ली पतशाह है
Now hear the Sakhi of how the Mughal dynasty came about, the Mughal empire came about. So when we started this Grantha, Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Pangu spoke about how Khalsa Raj came about, how British came to India and how British and the Khalsa, they met each other and how eventually British, they annexed Punjab. Now Bhai Sahib is going backwards, is rewinding and is going to tell how Mughals came to Punjab, came to Hindustan. So aage Sakhi yo suno. So now listen to the next Sakhi, Hute Pathan Dilli Patshai. That before Mughals came to India, the Padshah of India, so Delhi de Kelo, Delhi de Padshah was Pathans. So this was, we were speaking about the Lodi dynasty. Lodi dynasties are basically Pathans and they are from Afghanistan. Hanji.
क्रोपी कीनी जिम गुरु दसो मुगल को तकत पलटाए
So I'm going to tell you how they made Guru Nanak Dev Ji upset and how Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave the vara that this Lodi dynasty will be uprooted and the Mughal dynasty will come. Hanji.
चौपई लोधी ब्रह्म खा पातशाह हो थो जदी
So Lodi Brahma Khan. So basically now we have Behlol Lodi and so on. But this was the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. We had Sikandar Lodi, now Ibrahim Lodi. Okay, Ibrahim Lodi was the Sultan of Delhi at that time. Hanji.
उस आवत वक्त बुरै भयो तदी
When Ibrahim Lodi came, so he was basically the last Sultan of the Lodi dynasty. Bura Sama aa gaya si. Ekta, when he came, he caused such a bad time to India, to Hindustan. Everybody was suffering. He was a very tyrant ruler. But Guru Nanak Bhai Sahib कहते हैं कि ओदा भी बुरा समा आ गया सी. That his bad time also came. Hanji.
उन सिद्ध साध फड़ पीर मंगाए
Now what Ibrahim Lodi did was he captured all the Sidhs, the Sadhus, the Bhagas, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ yogis, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਕੜ ਕੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾੜਤਾ. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
दे चक्की सब पीसन बहाए
And he made everybody to basically roll the stone grinder. ਚੱਕੀ ਪੀਸਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਏ. ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ, they were given wheats and they say sit down here and your job is now to use a stone grinder, and they are really heavy stone grinders, and to piece the atta, the wheat, and make atta. Hanji.
दुनिया तुम झूठे लुट खाई
Now why was Ibrahim Lodi doing this? He said he was very angry with the Sidhs, the yogis, the sadhus, कि दुनिया तुम झूठे लुट खाए, that you have looted the dunya. People come to you and you give them, you fulfill their wishes, and they all come to you to get to remove their dukkha. And sometimes you take their money, you live such a lavish life, so you're basically lying to the people. So Ibrahim Lodi was putting all these accusations on the Sidhs. Hanji.
नहकमात किन हमें दिखाई
Now you can show miracles and you can change the lives of people who come to you, but you will not show me any karamat. So of course Turk jere sige, sultans and all, even the Mughals jere raje sige, they were very much into karamata. That if someone, a fakir or sadhu would come, their request would be, come to my darbar and show me some karamata. Hanji.
तह मुसलमान हिंदुअन कहियो
So now Ibrahim Lodi says that you are not showing me any karamata, and you're changing the lives of all the people around you, and basically saying you're looting them. Now I'm going to make you sit in this jail and you're going to chakki piece your whole life. So now at that point Guru Nanak Dev Ji was also in Delhi. Guru Sahib no bhi unhone pakkad liya. Now of course Guru Sahib is not, we can't say that they captured Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It's more like Guru Nanak Dev Ji wanted to be there to cause this history to happen. Now the Sidhs, the yogis, they see Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and everybody knows now Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who they are. They say, Teh Musalman Hinduan kahiyo. Now the peers, the fakirs, the yogis in the jail, they were not only of the Hindu dharam but even the Muslims as well. They were both ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਕੀਰ ਸੀਗੇ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਇਆ. Now they are telling Guru Nanak Dev Ji, ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਜੋਗ ਛੁਡਾਵਨ ਹੈ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਅਹਿਓ,
that you, now Guru Nanak Dev, you are the only one who can take us away from this dukkha, that bring us out from this jail and take away our suffering. Hanji.
ਤੁਝ ਹੀ ਕੋ ਹੈ ਬਿਰਦ ਕੀ ਲਾਜ,
That you are the only one who is going to protect our honor. Hanji.
ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਭੇਖ ਰੱਖਣੇ ਵਾਜ,
And you are going to protect our pekh. Basically, Hinduਆਂ ਦਾ pekh, that you are going to protect our dharam, and the Muslims, you are going to protect our dharam. Hanji.
ਸਭ ਸੂਰਨ ਕੇ ਦਲ ਨਹਿ ਹੋਏ.
Now they give this analogy. They say that if you look at an army, and let's say now an army comes, someone who's in front of them would think that, wow, everybody in the army, all the soldiers are very brave, that they want to fight in this battle, that they are not afraid of death. Hanji.
ਸ਼ੇਰ ਝਲ ਮਦ ਏਕੋ ਕੋਏ.
Now the yogis, the fakirs, they are saying to Guru Nanak Dev Ji that not all the soldiers in an army are brave. Just because they look like a soldier does not mean that they are brave. They say that in the whole army, there's only one general, and that's the sher. The jangla vich, there's only one lion. And in this battlefield that we are in, that you are our general, you are our sher, and we are the soldiers, but we have no himmat, no bravery or courage in us to fight. Hanji.
ਦੋਹਰਾ ਤੋ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਹਸ ਉਨ ਕਹਿਓ ਤੁਮ ਸਭ ਕਰਨੈ ਜੋਗ.
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji laughed, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to them that you can do everything. You have all the powers in you to change whatever is happening in this jail right now. But you are giving the greatness, the vadiyai to me. Hanji.
ਹਮ ਕੋ ਜਸ ਤੁਮ ਦੇਤ ਹੋ ਕਲ ਕੋ ਸਭ ਭਲ ਹੋਗ.
That now you're giving me the vadiyai to save all your lives, but do not worry that tomorrow everything will change. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is going to make something happen the next day. Hanji.
ਚੌਪਈ ਸਭ ਸੰਤਨ ਨਿਜ ਚੱਕੀ ਚਲਾਏ.
Now the next day what happened? Chakki appe chalan lag pi. The stone grinder, oh appe chalan lag pi. Hanji.
ਸਿਰ ਕੋ ਟੋਕਰੀ ਉੱਚੀ ਦਿਖਾਏ.
And the tokri that the Sidh had to carry with the atta in the tokri, and they had to transport it. The tokri was floating above the heads of the Siddha, the yogis, the fakirs, which means that Guru Nanak Dev took away their physical suffering, that they had to physically, na ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਸੀ. So Guru Nanak Dev took away their physical suffering of having to turn the stone grinder and carry the baskets. Hanji.
ਦਇਓ ਪਰਦਾ ਸਭ ਭੇਖ ਪਰ ਪਾਏ.
So Dayo Parda, Guru Nanak Dev protected all the Siddha, the yogis, the fakirs. Hanji.
ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਅਦਿਕ ਭਇਓ ਜਸ ਵਾਏ.
And everybody started praising Guru Nanak Dev Ji and their vadiyai of taking away their suffering. Hanji.
ਦੋਹਰਾ ਮੁਯੋ ਹਾਥੀ ਹਤਵਾਨ ਕੋ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦਇਓ ਉਠਾਏ.
So now there's this small sakhi as well, which now causes Ibrahim Lodi to get angry. So in Delhi, Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ that there was this person whose elephant had died, and his very source of income was through this elephant. Hanji.
ਉਨ ਹੁਤੀ ਟਹਿਲ ਸੰਤਨ ਕਰੀ ਕਰੀ ਦਇਆ ਗੁਰ ਤਾਹੇ.
Now Guru Sahib ne dekhya, and Guru Sahib became very compassionate because this person whose elephant had died, he would do seva of the saints. Santan di tahel karde si, and he would do seva of the saints, and Guru Nanak Dev became compassionate towards him and brought back his elephant back to alive. Hanji.
ਚੌਪਈ ਸੁਨ ਗੁਰ ਪਰ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਸਾਇਆ.
So when Ibrahim Lodi heard this miracle performed by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, chakki appe pisan lag pi, and the basket was floating, and Guru Nanak Dev brought the elephant back alive, Ibrahim Lodi got very angry. Hanji.
ਇਹ ਜਾਦੂ ਇਨ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਚਲਾਇਆ.
That this Hindu fakir created or did this karama, this miracle, but why is it that they would not perform in front of me? Hanji.
ਸ਼ਹਿਰੋ ਇਸ ਕੋ ਦਇਓ ਕਢਾਏ.
So Ibrahim Lodi then told the servants, the soldiers, that throw him out of the Delhi town. Hanji.
ਬੋਹਰ ਨਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਵਰ ਹੈ ਆਏ.
That this person should not and will not enter Delhi again. Hanji.
ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਕਹਿਓ ਹਮ ਤੋ ਵਰੇ ਆਏ.
So now Satguru Guru Nanak Dev ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ, that we will come again to this town. Now that is signifying that Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the next Guru Sahiban will come to Delhi again and again, and including the Khalsa Raj as well. As I mentioned earlier in the first Prasang, the first Katha, that in the span of 22 years, 19 times the Khalsa Raj had attacked Delhi, looted their treasure, gave the Raj back to the Mughals and came back to Punjab. Every year they would loot Delhi and come back and attack Delhi. So Guru Nanak कहते that हम तो वर आए that we are going to come back again and again to Delhi. हाँ जी.
कर बहावे दिल्ली पतशाह है
And I'm going to make a Padshah, a Sultan sit on the Takhat of Delhi. हाँ जी.
अब आए बोलियो तुमरो काल
So Guru Nanak says, so we have Sultan who sat at the Delhi Takhat as well. We have the likes of Sardar Baghel Singh, Jassa Singh Aluwala, Jassa Singh Ramgarhia, who attacked Delhi. And even when they wanted to sit on Delhi Takhat, Sardar Baghel Singh said कि ऐसी एक तख्ते नहीं बैठना. And Bhai Sahib कहते कि क्यों नहीं बैठना है तख्ते, that we have won over Delhi, this takhat belongs to us. He says, जेरे इस तख्ते बैठे हैं ना, those who sat on this takhat, they caused the shaheeds of our Sikh brothers and sisters, thousands of their shaheed, they caused it. We are not going to sit on this takhat. This takhat is cursed to us. And Guru Nanak ji कहते ने कर बहावे दिल्ली Padshah, that I will make a Padshah sit on this takhat of Delhi. Now Guru Sahib referring to changing of the dynasty, and then even when Mughals come as well, Guru Nanak ji is signifying that Khalsa will rule over Delhi. Hanji.
1878 साल
So Guru Nanak ji is giving a Pavik now prophecy that your end is coming. I bolyo tumro kal, that your end is coming. 1878 saal, that in the year 1878 your end is going to come. Now if we trace back the years and minus the Bikrami, the 57 years from this Bikrami year calendar to English Gregorian calendar, it is around the year 1821. Now when we trace back history of what happened in Hindustan in the year 1821, this was a time when Khalsa had few battles with the Pathans. And we are speaking about Maharaja Ranjit Singh Ji fighting the Durrani Empire. Now Pathans, there were two different Pathan dynasty who ruled Hindustan. One was the Lodi Pacha, the Lodi Sultans. So after Ibrahim Khan Lodi, basically Guru Nanak Ji, when Babur entered, Lodi dynasty ended with Ibrahim Lodi. Mughal dynasties came, and then ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੁਗਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਅੰਤ ਹੋਇਆ, ਫਿਰ Durrani Empire came. Now Durrani Empire also Afghan Pathans. So this is again the second Pathan dynasty who ruled Hindustan. And this was a time that if we read Itihas, Khalsa went against the Durrani Fauj, especially in the Pakistan region now, Peshawar, and so we have a few area, Peshawar, Kashmir, Srinagar. कि उन्ना देना लड़के they pushed back the Afghani for the Durrani Empire, and Khalsa Raj expanded in that area. And it was during this time, the 1820s, 1819, 1821, 1823 was the period where the Durrani Empire was also, basically, it was their downfall. So Guru Nanak Ji gives the prophecy कि इस समय दे विच तेरा अंत होगा, that the Pathan rule will end. Hanji.
दोहरा दई फिटक श्री गुर उसे भई बाय उसमार.
So Guru Sahib ने फिटकिया भी उन्होंने क्या कि you are such a tyrant ruler and they're causing so much of pain to the Sidhs, the Sadhus, the Fakir, that your rule will end, your end is coming. Hanji.
तब दिल्ली जुगते लई सिथी बाबे तार.
So what happened was, the moment Guru Nanak Ji said कि तेरा अंत आ गया, भाई रतन सिंह जी पंगू कहते ने कि सोच लो कि इब्राहिम लोधी दा उत्थे ही ओदी मौत होगी. It was the end of Ibrahim Lodi at that very moment. And in Delhi, people started to become sects of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and based on the prophecy of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Mughal Empire came. So even how Mughals they came was because of the invitation of Daulat Khan Lodi as well. Daulat Khan Lodi, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੱਦਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਆਊਗਾ ਤੇ Babur ਆਊਗਾ and would change the course of Hindustan. But when Babur came, of course, once you already got over Hindustan, you become greedy, you want to take over everything. So then Babur came and took over everything. Lodi dynasty nu pare hata ke, that Babur came and ruled Hindustan, and that's how the Mughal dynasty came about in Hindustan. Hanji.
दोहरा तो माली सुन हम कही सब संसे भय दूर.
So now Captain Murray, now we're going to finish this one prasanga of Kaur Pacha. It's a very interesting sakhi, and one that causes a few doubts in amongst our Sikh as well. So to mali sun hum kahi. So Captain Murray, then listening to this sakya, he said, Hanji,
कारू गोष्ट नह कही या मैं शक जरूर
He said, now all my doubts are cleared, that I know for a fact that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the Sache Pacha who gave the Raj, the Pacha to the Khalsa, and how now I know how the Mughal dynasty came about. But I have this one doubt on the Sakhi between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Kaur. So who is this Kaur and was the Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Kaur? He said, I have this doubt around this Sakhi. Hanji.
चौपई ताको बीतो बरस हजार गोष्ट करी कब बाबे नार.
So now, okay, let's trace back a bit. Karu is basically a person, these stories are mentioned in the Bible and Quran. So in the Bible is mentioned as Korah, and in Quran is mentioned, he's mentioned as Karun. It's the same Sakhi. Basically, this was the time of Prophet Moses. Prophet Moses, this was a Sakhi where Moses came and he wanted to basically do prachar of Jesus' teachings. And this was the area of Egypt, Turkey, that area, basically. Those time they were this person called Korah or Karun, the same person, different names, and he was against Prophet Moses. And because of that, God basically made a commandment that the earth opened up and swallowed Korah and all his conspirators who went against Moses. So this is a Sakhi basically, ki the one who goes against Paramatma, goes against God and his Bhagat will all be destroyed. Now Korah is basically, he was a very wealthy person in Egypt, in the Egypt-Turkey area, very wealthy person. And in fact, it was known as the treasure of Karun. You can go online and Google this. And in fact, this is very interesting because in Al-Quran is mentioned, he's mentioned as Karun, and because he had 40 ganja, if you think about it, 40 big rooms, maybe as size of this, and all of them were filled with treasure. If anybody had one coin, one silver coin or a gold coin, he would grab it from that poor person, whoever it may be, and he will put it in his treasury. So he collected all this treasure and it was known as Karun's treasure. And in Malay, we called it Harta Karun. So it's known as Harta Karun because metaphorically signifying the treasure of Karun, which is just too much. So if let's say you go into the ocean and you decide to become a pirate and you have a ship and you go into the ocean and you find a treasure, you call it Harta Karun. It means the treasure of Karun that was lost and never to be found. So Captain Murray is saying that, of course, he is a Christian. He's saying that I've heard about this Sakhi Guru Nanak Dev Ji meeting Karun, but that happened many thousand years ago when Guru Nanak Dev Ji came after a couple of thousand years later. So what is the story all about? So Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is saying, Tako bito barz hazar, that between Prophet Moses and Korah, Karun and Guru Nanak Dev Ji's coming, there have been many thousand years in between. Hanji.
तो उसको मैं उत्तर दयो यह गोष्ट में संसो पयो.
So how was it the dialogue happened between Kaura and Guru Nanak Dev Ji doesn't tally, Hana? So Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo says to Captain Murray that I give Captain Murray this answer, that I'm now going to remove the doubt of this Sakhi. Hanji.
बाबे कही ना जो मुख साखी लिखारी लिख सो गोष्ट राखी.
So Kaviji says that this was not a Sakhi recited by Guru Nanak Dev Ji from their very own mouth. Rather, it was a dialogue written by Likhari that Guru Nanak Dev Ji had written, a dialogue between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and someone. What has happened over the times, Hanji?
आगे मिले उन्हों ते जोड़ा उन अक्षर बहु और दए तोड़ा.
So because it was the ghost, it was a dialogue Guru Nanak Dev Ji speaking about Karun to someone else or quoting Karun in his dialogue. What historians had done is, over the time they added on, basically what historians do, even Prachar, sometimes what we do is to add the mirch masala to a Sakhi, we add things on. Over the times, things started getting on, added into the Sakhi, the dialogue, and it choda ban gaya, it became very lengthy. Hanji.
नह किच जानियो सम्मत साल वाद काट नह समझे हवाल.
So these historians or people, so now let's say if I'm telling you this Sakhi that Guru Nanak Dev Ji spoke about this person, then you go on and tell the other person, he adds on a bit more, 10% of his own interpretation. Oh, fir bahut gal vadagi. Now people did not know which was the year that Karun's story happened, which was the year Guru Nanak Dev Ji wrote this, and what was it Guru Nanak Dev Ji wrote? This is a letter basically called Nasihat Nama. So you can find it as well. It's online. You can find it has been translated. Now it's called Nasihatnama. It's basically epistle of advice Guru Nanak Dev Ji wrote in the Rag Tilanga to a king. And that's where a bit of confusion happens, because it is said that Guru Nanak Dev Ji met King Karun, which was the Karun mentioned in Al-Quran and the Bible. But Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is saying that that's not the case. It was actually a dialogue, a letter written to a king who was Guru Nanak Dev Ji calling him just like Karun as well, because this king was also a tyrant ruler and he was also collecting all his treasures, but he was not doing charity to the people that he was actually responsible for. So Hanji, so Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is removing this doubt. Hanji.
पीर फकीर सिद्ध गोष्ठ बोई इम कर गोष्ठ लिख गयो कोई.
So even Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as we know, when they went to Baghdad, when they went to Mecca, Medina, when they went to Sumer Parbat, utthe bhi gosht kiti. They also had these dialogues as well. And similarly, Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo kende ne, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had this dialogue as well. Hanji.
गोष्ठन को और साखी पाए नह मूर्ख के समझत थाए.
Now, Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo says that there is a very big difference between a dialogue, a conversation. If I'm having a conversation with you and I quote certain people, or I tell you a certain sakhi in the dialogue, and it's very much different to actually telling a story. So over the time, what historians have done is they have amalgamated both sakhi and the dialogue, and it turned out to be a sakhi where they are saying Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually went and met Kaura. Hanji.
उस यार दीवानो जाको कहिए उन्हीं मैं ते उनको लहिए.
So दीवानो जेरे आशिक सीगे Guru Nanak Dev Ji de, they went and tell the sakhi, they went and tell another person, oh दीवाना हो गया, they went and tell the other person as well. Hanji.
गिरी खखर कह चौद पुराना कोलू अलाहे सर में दाना.
So Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is giving this analogy. It is as if we look at a fallen beehive and we say, wow, this is actually a moon. ਇਹ ਚੰਦ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ 'ਚ ਡਿੱਗ ਗਿਆ. Or we look at a ਸਲੋਤਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁੰਡਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, and ਕੋਈ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਵੇ wow ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਲਾ ਦਾ ਸੁਰਮੇਦਾਨਾ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਲਾ ਦਾ ਸੁਰਮਾ ਆ, like the you know surma that you put the eyeshadow, Allah da ya. And so it's basically taking one context and making it to something else. And Bhai Sutresha as well gives this, there's this similar sakhi to Bhai Sutresha, where Bhai Sutresha goes to Delhi and he creates this very big shoes, a pair of shoes he makes it. ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਖੇਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ. And at night, midnight, he drops one side of the shoe in front of Jama Masjid, and one shoe he keeps it. Now the next day, the Qazi comes to, of course, perform namaz and open the doors to the masjid, and he says, why is this shoe in front of the masjid? And he recalls a dream he had that the Prophet came and he started telling everybody here that these are the shoes of Prophet Muhammad. And of course, then jere sare aale duale sige, wow, this is the shoe. Sare jutti nu poojan lag pe. They started putting money, and of course, Qazi Devi kapta sige, if I spread this news, many people will come to the asthan, to the place. So people started bowing down to the shoes, started putting money and so on. So it became a big havoc for a few months. One day, Bhai Sutresha decided now it's time to open up everybody's eyes. And he goes around, he carries a kunda, lakdi basically, and he puts his shoe on the lakdi, and he carries it high up, and he walks around the town of Delhi and says, anybody seen my other pair of shoe? Has anybody seen it? I've lost my other pair of shoe. And now, because many months pass by and they've heard this word, they say, jutti dekhi hui hai kite paase? Where do we see it? Where do you see it? And they recall, oh, we saw it in Jama Masjid. And they said, why is he carrying the other pair of shoes? Now the news spread, and Bhai Sutresha, somebody said, I've seen this in Jama Masjid. And Bhai Sutresha was very innocent. He said, okay, I'm going there. He went there, he grabbed the other shoe and he runs away. Now jara Qazi siga onu gussa chad gaya that how dare you take this shoe away from the masjid. So gal inni wadgi that he went to the emperor. Badshah de call gal pahunch gi. And Bhai Sutresha then was asked to give his bayan that why did you do this sacrilege? Basically, you disrespected the masjid and you took this shoe away that everybody believed it to be Prophet's shoe. And so Bhai Sutresha kende ne ki, what guarantee do you have that this was Prophet's shoes? And Ovi like, we believe what the Qazi said. And then uta pele kai mine di gala, if it was really the shoes, that he would have the other pair. Why is the other pair with me? Then the Basha goes तू तो बाला चलाक निकलिया. Now if it's your shoes, now prove it to me that it's your shoes. पा के दिखा. Now भाई सुतरे शाह उत्थे फंस गया. He got scared कि मैं जुत्ती पाऊंगा, people will know that it's not my shoes. He does ardas to Guru Sahib. He does ardas to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, if I'm not mistaken, because Bhai Sutra Shah lived for during the period of few Guru Sahiban. He does ardas कि सच्चे पातशाह मैं तो मजाक ही करना सीगा, कुछ सिखाना सीगा, हुण मेरे इत्थे मेरी क्लास लग गई. So can you please protect my honor? He does an ardas and Bhai Sutra Shah puts his foot in the shoe and miraculously the shoe fitted his feet. And Bacha dekhe ke wo bhi हैरान हो गया. So they could not basically put him in jail or start a trial on Bhai Sutra Shah. Basically the Sakhi is trying to say कि गल इन्नी कसीगी and कित्थे गल पहुंच गई. And Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is saying the same thing as well. हाँ जी.
दोहरा रसूलो और बाबेओ बिते सो बरस हजार.
So Bhai Sahib कहते ने between Rasul, so Nabi Muhammad, the Prophet Moses as well, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji, many thousand years has passed by. हाँ जी.
देते आए साख ए गंज चाली कारूवार.
So in the Quran, in Al-Quran, in Bible is written that Korah or Karun had 40 ganja treasures. 40, basically, you cannot count how much treasure this person had. Hanji.
हुतो कारू पातशाह है एक कही बाबे यो बात.
So Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji now in this Nasihatnama, they are writing the same Sakhi and telling this Badshah कि you are just like Karun back in the days, that Sakhi Karun who also collected treasure, and at the end की होया एक भी सिक्का ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਗਿਆ नहीं. He didn't go with him when the earth opened up and swallowed him. He said don't be like that. He said you are a Badshah, you have all these treasures with you, use your treasure to do good for the people. Hanji.
सो चाली गंज जोड़ के पयो तो खाली जात.
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the Nasihatnama he says कि 40 गंज जोड़ के इन्ना खजाना जोड़ के फिर भी खाली हाथ गया. हे राजा ये भी तेरी साखी होनी है, सुधर जा. हाँ जी.
एक अमर पकंबर संत हो तो मिल उस करियो निहाल.
So basically what happened then, in the time then the prophet came and opened the eyes of Karu, of Korah. Of course now in the time this Sakhi of this king as well कि ओदी अख खोलने सीगे उस करियो निहाल. So जदों of course when he read the letter वो भी निहाल हो गया, ओदी भी अखां खुल गए. हाँ जी.
मूडन गोष्ठ लिख कही करी सो बाबे नाल.
So this was the ghost, the dialogue basically that Guru Nanak Dev Ji had. Even if you read in Sri Nanak Prakash as well and Pai Balle Wali Janam Sakhi, it is written as well that Guru Nanak Dev Ji said ki we are now going to go and tar this Badshah as well. We are going to tell him about the tyranny he's done and change his life as well. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is not to say he met Karu or Korah, but he cited Karu in this Nasihatnama and telling this Badshah that tu vi na Karu ban ja. So Sangat Ji, itne ka ithe Sakhi Katha of Sri Panth Prakash. We have covered the whole Prasang of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sakhiyan, and Guru Sahib Kirpa de naal we are in the next Prasanga we are going to start the Bansavali, which means that in one chapter Bhai Rattan Singh Ji Bhangoo is going to go through the whole 10 Guru Sahiban, and just in time for Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Shahidi we are going to be covering the Prasang of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Shahidi and the battle with Aurangzeb, which led to Guru Gobind Singh Ji creating the Khalsa Panth. So that is going to be the Prasanga in the next Katha. So itni ka benti parwan karni Sangat Ji, aakhriyan panktiyan par ke Katha di samapti kariye ji. एक अमर पैगंबर संत हो तो मिल उस करियो निहाल. मूड़न गोष्ठ लिख कही करी सो बाबे नाल. वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह.
Kaur